He told my parents that he wanted to marry me when I was in the 8th grade. They fooled me after I sat the secondary school exams at the end of that year. And the first time I even saw him was a week after he proposed the marriage to my uncle. And from the first time they told me, I refused. I told them, I don't want to marry, I want to study. I spoke to him directly and said, I don't want to marry you. I fled to Sinnar, to my aunt's house, but 2 days later, they brought me back, and the religious ceremony took place 2 weeks after he first proposed in our house. Afterwards, I had no communication with him. If he visited the house, I left. I told him, I don't want you. The wedding ceremony was 3 years later, after I sat my school leaver exam. They did all the usual rituals for the wedding. His family are well off. But in all that time, I didn't take anything from him, not a single penny. I was overwhelmed with anger. I didn't want this man. I sat in the hairdressers contemplating suicide. I cried sitting next to him. In the car, he kept coming closer to me and I kept moving away. We arrived at the honeymoon flat. I locked myself inside one of the rooms and lay down full closed. This went on. I refused to eat. I refused to leave my room. On the third day, he told me, it's time you open the door so I don't break in. And I refused. But while he slept, I crept out and found the door to the flat was locked. On the 9th day, his relatives came. His uncle told me to go to the bedroom. I said no. So he dragged me by my arm into the bedroom and his cousin slapped me. All of them tore at my clothing. His uncle held me down by my legs and each of the other two held down my arm. He stripped and had me while I wept and screamed. And finally, they left the room. I was bleeding. I slept naked. The next day, he grabbed me, threw me on the bed, and tried to climb on top of me. I was fighting back, and my hand found a knife under the pillow. We began grappling over the knife, and he cut my hand and bit down on my shoulder. I ran to my parents' house. I had no idea how I got there. I was still carrying the knife. I was hoping to finish studying law and then marry. My dream is to be a judge.